Yes, sir. So, okay, as I was doing research on you, it just seems like you do everything. You're essentially a jack of all trades. You went from being an athlete to developing and creating video games to being a business owner and even a producer. If you haven't done it already, you're going to do it next. So, let me ask you this. How did you get started with your journey into computer science, technology, and the gaming industry?
Well, I actually got started. I was going to school and playing ball, and I was studying digital music, and so that was what gave me the exposure to having a skill set that could translate into gaming. Was actually on the music side, and then I got fortunate to get an internship as a tester at Atari Games, Atari Midway, and from there I got my first opportunity to start designing games.
Really? Let me ask you this. What was it like working at Atari? How old were you when you first started?
I started at 19 in the games business, and it was cool because it wasn't like I'm not that old. It wasn't like Atari with like the joystick, like super old school 2600s. But
Right.
it was they were still doing coin operated games. They were doing games on the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, stuff like that, and it was really cool because some of the guys that had been working on those games that I played when I was like 6 years old were still walking around the building. I got to work with a guy named Ed Log on the first game that I got to be a designer on. He was the guy who created Asteroids like by himself, like created Gauntlet and all these like super old school games from when I was
Really?
like literally grabbing quarters and running down the street. And I got to, work with him. He was the lead program on the first game I worked on. So it was just cool, like learning from all these people and getting a chance to see like the OGs.
All right. So, okay, let me ask this. Why go from football to the gaming industry, right? Because, many of us, we aspire to be pro athletes, right? Go to the NFL,
Mhm.
go to the NBA. But also, I mean, it sounds like fun to get paid to create video games and also play them. So, what made you make that transition from sports to gaming?
Well, for me, I made that transition my junior year of college, so no one was paying me to play ball yet anyway. So that made it a little easier, and they were paying me to help make games. That's one. One I was getting paid for. The other I was getting school. The second thing was that when I got a chance to start working in the game industry, it felt a whole lot better on my body. And I love football. I still coach football. So and it's a tough sport, and I'm all for it, but it was a whole lot easier for me to spend my hours in a nice air conditioned, room looking at video games all day and figuring that out than it was playing ball. So, and I could see a much longer future in it too. Um, yeah.
Makes sense to me.
All right. So, Mr. Ortiz, you were the first game designer hired at Microsoft. How did you end up with that role?
That was actually pretty cool. So I was, Microsoft had been doing more like game publishing. So they had done like Age of Empires and a few other games, but they had never had like an internal game designer or someone holding that title. They definitely had people walking around there who understood games and were passionate about them, but they never hired someone with that title as game designer. And so they were in the process of building out the original Xbox, and they had an internal team where we were doing NFL Fever as a football game. We did NBA Inside Drive, and we had they were doing Halo in that building too. But that was an acquisition they made, and they brought them in. And so I just got really fortunate. I had an opportunity. I had a buddy who was actually the first designer ever on Madden. He was a mentor of mine. His name is Randy Beverly, and he works with me now.
Okay.
And we used to share an office at Fox. And his brother says to me, I had an opportunity to go to EA or an opportunity to go to Microsoft. And he says, well, you can go to EA and work on my game, or you can go try to make a game that's better. And so I'm not saying we made a better game at Fever, but we outsold him the first year. And so I was more really despite him. I took the gig just to show him I could do it, And then after that, I went to EA. But it was just really fortunate time. I was very blessed to get that opportunity, and I met a lot of great people there. We built a lot of fun stuff at Microsoft back then.
So, speaking of what was it, EA, you transitioned
Mm-hmm.
there, senior producer, project lead, right? What was it like? EA Sports, Madden. I played Madden a lot as a kid. I don't know about y'all in the audience. When I played Madden Mobile, stayed up to ungodly hours grinding the game to
Right.
102 overall in sixth grade. Desi knows, mom knows, right? That was my game as a kid. So what was it like working at EA and being a part of the creative team for that game?
Well, first of all, I'm just cracking up how Ian just kind of humble bragged himself about his ranking on Madden. By the way, if y'all didn't notice that, what he did, just he just kind of slid that in there, Mr. 102. But for me, it was like the same thing, man. So I started working at EA in my 20s, and I had been the same way. Like that game had been out for so long, that I played that game in high school. So I used to play that on the Genesis like crazy. We play for push-ups, we play for money, we play for haircuts, we play for everything. And so probably the funnest thing for me beyond like being around all these amazing people and doing all this great work and knowing that everybody's going to play the game that you're working on, and all this exposure and stuff, it was knowing that my boys, like that was the game they played. So I knew like whatever I was doing, one, they would give me real feedback if whatever we were doing on the game was strong, but two, like I played that game like everybody else, coming up, and that was a big part of my childhood, my high school years and college. So to be able to have a chance to be part of the leadership for that was a lot of fun.
Especially, I mean, look, coming from playing the game to getting paid to make the game and still playing the game, I think that's
Oh,
everybody's
crazy.
dream. That's definitely
Crazy.
everybody's
No,
dream.
it was fun. I mean, every day, and I mean, I still feel like that now, making games for a living. But like every single day, we were, it was work for sure. But every single day, in this industry, I feel like I'm blessed, to be able to do something that I'm so passionate about and I have so much fun doing. It's like you really never have to grow up, quite frankly. And I'm that.
Sounds like a dream, being a child forever. No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
Mr. Ortiz, you've had the opportunity to work with some huge companies in entertainment, like Warner Brothers. What was that experience like?
Well, it was really cool working at Warner Brothers and in some of the other places. I mean, I think one of the coolest things about it is the scale that things are done at large companies. I mean, large companies are equipped to do blockbuster titles. They're equipped to have massive marketing campaigns. They're equipped to, you know, do Happy Meals and lunch boxes and all kinds of just overwhelming type things. And working on things at that scale is pretty cool, and you learn a lot because you get exposed to how the machine really works. So that was a great, like, every opportunity I've had to work at larger companies has been a great learning experience for me, as well as just a great opportunity to see the things you work on get in a lot of people's hands. In terms of how I got those opportunities, it was everything that I've done in this business has just been one step at a time and one opportunity, and then you learn something, and then you open your mind up to being able to do the next thing, and just having confidence in yourself that you belong, in the room you're in, and you're capable of accomplishing something. I think that's the biggest thing, and most importantly is putting yourself an opportunity to be told yes or no, right? Not feeling like something's bigger than your opportunity or what you bring to the table. Just trying, So along the way, I just collected experience, and then submitted myself for opportunities, or was fortunate enough to be sought out for opportunities. But it all comes from just one thing at a time and building up a portfolio of work.
Opportunities, I love it. So, continuing on the gaming track, you're actually the CEO of a company called SimWin Sports. So, can you share with us on how that company got started and what is the big vision for SimWin?
Sure. So Simwin, I started Simwin, and I'm fortunate to have a bunch of great people on board with me: Tom Getty, Josh Lumen, Andre Johnson, Scott Beckman, some great Randy Beverly, great people that understand game development and game business and game marketing. The vision for this though came from years of working on video games, sports games specifically, and wanting to build something where you felt like you could be a part of that world in a bunch of different aspects. You could be the player, you could be the coach, you could be the owner, and have all this feed and stream and run all the time, like have this games business that never turned off, this game world, the sports world that never turned off. So that was the vision, really, was having this sports metaverse that was always there. Beyond that, though, we wanted to give people the opportunity to feel like they would go all the way to college or go all the way to pro as the athlete without ever having to be able to run a 4.5 40 or be able to hit a home run or hit a three like Steph. So we wanted to do it digitally. We wanted to be able to run on any platform. That was our vision, like sports all the time and everything that comes with it. So this digital sports world.
What advice would you give to kids who want to go into gaming, especially those who don't think technology is for them?
Well, the first thing I would say is that technology is absolutely for them because they're using it all the time. If you're playing video games, if you're on your phone, you're watching TV, you're already using technology. So you just have to make a decision: either you're just going to be a consumer or you're going to be a creator. So, first of all, you already are exposed to it, number one. Number two, the second advice I would say is start writing down all your ideas. Write down your concepts. You'd be surprised. Just getting in the habit of writing down what you're thinking. Then you step back and you look, or you got your phone out, whatever. When you come up with a cool idea, if I don't care if it's for a game, a song, a show, animation, whatever it is, just write it down. And then you step back and you're like, wow, I've got all these ideas. Then I would say the next step is, clearly education is important. Clearly you want to take advantage of any opportunities that your school provides, but more importantly, you have access to the internet. The internet has so much information on it about any topic you could possibly want to learn or get exposed to. Use the internet for more than just watching, short videos or, stuff like that. Use it to actually learn about things you're passionate about. You'll be surprised how quickly you will develop your confidence because you'll start to understand, how things are built. And then just keep looking out for opportunities. Dream Hustle Code, great example. IGDA Foundation, great example of places where people can go and find information about having a career in the games industry. The biggest thing that I'd say is don't be intimidated. I promise you, when I jumped into this industry, I was probably no more qualified than any of you are right now, but I stuck with it and I just continued to have a thirst for learning and get the information anywhere I could. So you're in a much better spot to be able to have a chance in this career than I ever did right now, just based on having the internet alone.
So, Mr. Ortiz, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us, giving us all the gems, all the lessons. Before we leave, can you give us a little bit of background? Where can we find you? Where can we find more information on Simwin Sports?
So Simwin Sports, and I'm sure at this point you can like throw our stuff up on the screen. You can get us on our Instagram. You can get us on our Twitter. Simwinsports.com is a great place to get information about us. And beyond that, like you said, YouTube University. We've got a ton of information out there about what we're up to. We've got some amazing partners and team owners and what we're doing. And so, yeah, definitely check us out.
So, thank you again so much, Mr. Ortiz, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, take care.